The title race has witnessed a dramatic twist, as David Moyes did Mikel Arteta a massive favour. Arsenal are 3 games away from history, but with a focus on the Champions League semi-final. Today we'll break down who is available and how Mikel Arteta can beat Atletico to reach the Champions League final, as well as discussing the Miles Lewis Skelly dilemma, as well as discussing Mikel Arteta's latest evolution. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Baz14. Welcome back to your boys' channel. I've got a smile on my face because Senor David Moyes has delivered a dramatic twist in the title race. And of course, we've got a Champions League semi-final around the corner. So as per, smash a like if you enjoy it and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let me know your thoughts on that Man City result, and of course, going into a semi-final, what are you guys thinking? But starting off with the first thing, and that is back in our hands. On a day where Mikel Arteta's former club Everton gave him a massive favour, the title race is officially back in Arsenal's control after a dramatic game at the Everton Stadium, where from the 68th minute to the 83rd, we witnessed an absolute madness. From Everton equalising, scoring in the second and making it 3-1, to Haaland then making it 3-2 minutes after Everton's third. Yes, City got the equaliser, and psychologically that could be massive for them. But the main thing that Arsenal fans need to focus on is, with 3 games left to play this season, Arsenal are officially back in full control of the title race. Win your remaining 3 fixtures, and you won your first league title in 22 years. And the narratives in this game are already forming. From that famous Man City fan that was holding the Arsenal bottle weeks ago at Stamford Bridge. Well, here he was watching Man City get dismantled by Everton, and you could even see the bottle was in his pockets. But weeks after calling us bottle jobs, the celebrations at the Etihad Stadium, Ryan Cherky making faces, Erling Haaland trying to be clever. In the space of 2 Arsenal wins and Man City dropping points, the title race has shifted once again in Mikel Arteta's favour. Because after game week 35, Arsenal have now risen to an 83% chance of winning the title, and City have dropped to 17%. They've got 4 games and Arsenal have got 3. By no means is this title race over, but the main thing to focus is the fact that it's back in Arsenal's hands. We all thought after their defeat to the Etihad, City were going to be imperious, they were going to win every single game. But as Bernardo Silva said after that win, one of the 2 teams were going to drop points. And today that team was Manchester City. And as important as City dropping points was, the other thing that you have to focus on is the way that Everton got themselves back into the game. Mistakes from Mark, where he physically dominated from set pieces. In a game that City were lucky to even get a point, Everton had a 3.06 XG and Man City 1.47. And there's a reason why that's so important. Their next game is Brentford home, and they've also got to go to Bournemouth away. 2 teams that are even better than Everton when it comes to attacking. In this game, City once again showed defensive vulnerabilities, but the main difference was they were finally punished for it. So with the Premier League title back in Arsenal's hands with 3 games to go, City now on 71 points after 34 games, Arsenal on 76. The maximum amount of points a City can now get is 83, and that means if Arsenal win the remaining 3 games, the title is officially ours. With games against West Ham away, Burnley at home and Crystal Palace away, that West Ham game this weekend becomes that much more decisive. Not only because City play before Arsenal on the Saturday, but if City drop points again, or even if they win, for Arsenal going to arguably the hardest game left this season, if you can go and beat a team that are fighting for their lives, fighting relegation, not only do you take advantage of Man City dropping points, but you put yourself 2 wins away from a Premier League title. With the final game of the season being Crystal Palace away from home, a team that could be in a UEFA Conference League final, the idea is they will rest a lot of players. But more importantly, what a potential storyline. The exact stadium that Arsenal's title run started in 2022-23. The first game of Mikel Arteta's new Arsenal era. The pink Arsenal kit, Saliba's first ever Arsenal starts, could be the exact same ground that Arsenal clinched their first title in 22 years. And the project finally goes boom. Composure, my friends, right now is very important. Let's not get too excited, let's not get too emotional, because the job is not finished. This is why it's imperative the focus stays internally. So let's talk about Miles Lewis Skelly, one of the stars of the show, as Arsenal smashed Fulham 3-0 in his first league start in ages, starting in central midfield. He even had 21 Savage after the game, posting a photo of Lewis Skelly with a caption mood. In a game that he saw one of Mikel Arteta's biggest problems in midfield, ball progression via consistent carry, Miles Lewis Skelly at 19 years of age showed exactly why his profile could be game-changing. Because Lewis Skelly is quite literally a game breaker, a player most comfortable dribbling with the ball under pressure, and dribblers are what make football come alive. Forget about man-to-man press and forget about your tactics, because when you have a player that can drive past opposition players, it opens the game up time and time again. But this is where Mikel Arteta actually has a massive dilemma. When saying after the game on why it took so long for Lewis Skelly to start in midfield, he says probably because I don't have a clue. Maybe I should have done it earlier, I don't know. It was a big risk. If we lost the game, what would have then happened? And the risk on Miles is as good as the reward. Because when you have a profile that's so comfortable at riding contact and attracting players towards it, at left back you may be able to lose the ball, but when you're playing in central midfield, the most dangerous areas to lose the ball on the field. As reliable as Miles is under pressure, watching back the performance against Fulham, and yes, Miles is thriving, but you have to ask the question against tougher opposition. If they target Lewis Skelly, who's going to hold the ball on, it could easily lead to high-level turnovers. And this is what Mikel Arteta needs to address if he's going to use Lewis Skelly in midfield. Because the fundamental flaw is also his biggest strength. He takes high risk in dangerous areas. If it comes off, Arsenal fans are loving it. But mark my words, if it costs Arsenal, fans will then realise why Mikel Arteta has also been a bit safe. The key is not eliminating his strengths. It's all about finding balance. But the most important factor is he's 19 years of age. Not an age that I expect the perfect, most balanced player. Under the coaching of Mikel Arteta alongside Declan Rice and even Martin Zubimendi, Miles could become the ultimate pressure-resistant midfielder. Because when you look at that midfield three that started against Fulham, you had a strong number 6 like Declan Rice who can screen the back four, the best midfielder out of position in the entire Premier League. Then you had a ball-carrying progressive like Miles Skelly, who's also a fantastic short to mid-range passer, with a pure number 10 like Eberici Eze, who's very comfortable operating between the lines, and helps Arsenal play so much more vertically. The midfield on paper was very well balanced, with even the Arsenal goat Thierry Henry praising Miles Skelly, saying Miles was just different. Because every time you've seen Miles play, whether it was last year at the Bernabeu or this year against Fulham, there's always a reminder that when he's in his full flow, this is a 101 midfield talent. Look at this example against Fulham. From using his body against the first man, then using it against the second, and driving past the third. That is something that no matter how good your tactics are, you can't coach that level of talent. But here's the dilemma that Mikel Arteta faces. First, against Atletico on Tuesday, in a recent poll done by Sky Sports about who starts for the Arsenal midfield against Atletico, Lewis Skelly was a resounding winner at 59% over Martin Zubimendi. But will Mikel Arteta be brave enough again, risking it in a semi-final at the Emirates Stadium, with Arsenal only one win away from a Champions League final? My friends, answer that question down below in the comments. But you also have these incredible numbers here that show, for all the talk about the number of games that Arsenal have played and the lack of rest, Arsenal's record is much better when they have less time between their games, with this being the Arsenal record when they have just 2 days of rest before a game, dropping points in only 3 games all season: a loss to Aston Villa, a draw to Nottingham Forest, and a draw against Wolves. The rest all resounding victories. And here's the most surprising thing: the numbers where Arsenal have at least 3 days of rest before a game: a loss against Liverpool, a draw against City, draw against Sunderland, draw against Chelsea, points drop against Liverpool, Man United, Brentford, then losses to Man City, Southampton, Bournemouth, and a draw to Atletico Madrid. What that shows is very important. Arsenal can play every 2 games. They get their momentum, they get their rhythm. But the thing that's costing Arsenal is the lack of availability due to the amount of games they've been playing, which is exactly where Mikel Arteta needs to focus going forwards. Because your players are actually better when they play every 2 days, but the way that you avoid the injuries is by resting players and rotating. And this is what Andrea Berta needs to think about in the summer. Does he see Miles Skelly as a long-term Arsenal midfielder? Because the midfield signing they make in the summer needs to be careful profile-wise. Take, for example, the wonder kid in Lille, Ayoub Bouyadi, a player that Arsenal have genuine interest in. He's a profile very similar to Miles, not only young but very comfortable playing under pressure. A ball carry first midfielder with slightly more size when he can cover ground better. If you sign a profile like Bouyadi, as exciting as he is, that potentially ends the career of Miles Skelly at Arsenal in central midfield. Because at left back, when you got Hincapié and Calafiori, Miles is not starting there anytime soon. But if you believe in the hell-end player and you want to give him a chance, you have to find a more complementary profile. And that's why you have the wonder kid coming out of Germany, Hertha Berlin's Kenneth Eichel, another player that also have genuine interest in. 16 years of age, more a pass-first midfielder. The profile of Miles, put it very simply, is a push-first player.